Welcome to John and Dave's occasional podcast. So we've pretty much exhausted the stock of things we wish we hadn't done.
But if you think that means you've heard The Last of Us, we've still got plenty of nonsense to discuss. On today's podcast, we're joined by the only other person to appear in every episode. The co-creator of our theme tune and one of our oldest friends, Rob.
What is the one word that sums up what the three of us have in common?
Well, it's
what's the word you think of when you think of us?
I mean, there's school and that, but it's friendship, really, isn't it? We're all
friendship. Other than being old,
old
is a word.
I always think of laughing.
Laughter.
That's a very good thing.
One of the first things we do. I mean, I always say this to people when they say, well, meet up with some friends from school and that we've known each other a long time, etc. And I say, and I know what will happen is we will get together and it will be no time at all before we're laughing at something that's from the past or that we share. Shared experiences, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Shared sense of humour. Well, the theme for this one that I suggested to Dave is friendship. What friendship means to you and how it plays a role in all of our lives. Yeah. So the first question I would say as an opener would be, who was your first friend? Can you remember your first friend?
Yeah, my first friend, someone I'm sure you do know, was Andrew Reid.
Oh yeah.
Really.
Yeah,
first actual friend. Yeah. I mean there were acquaintances, like I started school with Bugs Newbury the very first day. He cried all day. I remember that like anything.
Really?
But and we knew each other, and then because someone else who lived next door was Paul Rendell, so he was a friend at school as well. But once we sort of got a bit older, Andy Reid was
what age
my
would
first
that
friend.
have been?
I think Andy Reid, probably I was about 8, 9 maybe, and I remember I'd had my first bike, which was a second-hand bike that had been painted because that was how it was, and Andy Reid lived at the top of Langdon Farm, it was called, right at the curly road out of Bedminster. Yeah. And every Saturday morning, because we used to like to play on the farm, I would cycle up, and it was all up to Andy Reid's house, and it would take me about an hour to cycle up to the farm, and we'd play for the morning, and I'd be home for about 1 o'clock for something to eat, and it was all downhill coming back, and I would freewheel back, and it would take me about 10 to 15 minutes to get home. Completely opposite.
It's a big old hill, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It just went up.
My first friend was before primary school, I think.
Yeah.
And he was called Paul White. He was a West Bay. And I always remember that my parents used to laugh because he used to come round and knock at the door, and they'd open the door and he would say, "Tan Dodo pray." I was known as Joe, so Tan was can, Dodo was me, and pray. He wasn't a religious convert. He wasn't asking me out to a church service. It was just that he was a cretin.
Well, my first proper friend, was Kev Goodfellow.
Yeah.
I remember because I was in school in Rampersham, and I remember the day that the Goodfellows arrived in our school.
Oh, really? They were new to the school?
Yeah, because they moved into Rampersham, and I was 7 years old, and they came in, and there were the three boys, Patrick, Kevin, and Andrew. And I always remember because Patrick was dressed very smartly. He had a jacket and tie and everything on, and a briefcase, and Kevin and Andrew were dressed more like the rest of us, jumpers and trousers. But he was my first proper friend, and I just I don't know why, I just latched onto him.
Now, here's a killing question. Is he still your friend?
Sort of, but we don't keep in touch anymore.
No. And is Andy Reid still your friend?
No, because Andy Reid's dad and the whole family moved away. They moved to Hereford, and I did go and see him a couple of times when I was probably about 12, 13. But then it just drifted apart. I mean, I think I had a contact from him many, many years ago. He was doing something like hang gliding or something for Britain.
As you do.
Strange, and this was his big hobby, and he was doing this internationally. But that was it, and I think we almost made an arrangement for him and his wife to come and stay nearby, and we'd meet up, but it never happened, and that was years ago now.
It won't surprise you to hear that Paul White and I are no longer still friends. He's probably in an institution somewhere. And I should be too, I suppose. So that went by the way. But yeah, I mean, I think we all acknowledge that we three are our oldest sort of, working friends. So
and I think we talked earlier, didn't we? And we said that that there have been periods of time when we've not been in contact because things happen, life happens basically.
Yeah.
And then but you get back together again, and it's not an awkward thing. It's like, oh no, we're back. Just mates again.
That is the difference.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Because sometimes you meet old people that you or people that you were quite friendly.
Yes,
with,
good point. And it's not the same,
not
is
the
it?
same.
Not easy,
So what is it? It's a very hard thing to judge, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's partly making one another laugh. I always thought that when you and I would get together, what we didn't do was always talk about the past. There was still a continuing interest in each other's lives.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing in friendship.
Yeah.
But you do go back to it, though, don't you?
Oh, of course you do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
and
do.
you've got so many shared jokes from the past. I mean, like today we've been laughing a lot about the past, but then we're still living in the present, aren't we?
So many jokes, and so many of them totally inappropriate for today's
Exactly.
world.
Yes.
And impossible to describe.
You ought to put a trigger warning on this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I mean, how many friends would you actually say that you had now? What constitutes a friend?
When you
I've got a lot of acquaintances, but I've not got many
that's
friends.
it. You see, when you first put this subject forward, I thought to myself, I mean, I've got a lot of people I know well in different areas. I mean, there's people I play golf with, but I don't count them as friends.
Exactly,
They're people when we get together, we have a laugh, we play golf, but they're not people I see in another situation. There's people I've been involved in productions and stuff with, who I do see quite frequently, but they're not always people that I meet. Sometimes they're people I meet up with socially, but I think deep friendship is the one that you've sort of created over many years. Really.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've got 5 friends, I think.
I would have
So
5,
you two and Alan,
6, yeah.
Phil and Steve from college.
Yeah.
And I think those are my you're my friends.
I mean, do you think when you're younger you have a lot more friends, or is it just that you think that you count acquaintances as friends? I think that might be the latter case. But I think you count a lot of people as friends who aren't really.
I think your friends can be more brief.
Yeah.
So you're very friendly with somebody for a few months.
Yeah.
But then you might not see them again.
Exactly.
So also, when you're younger, you're in a closed environment in a way, aren't you? You're only seeing the people at school, the people that you see every day.
Sure.
So you're friends with a lot of them at the time. But then as you grow older and you form your own relationships, you get married, you have other relationships. Then those sort of fade away a little bit, and then you get joint friends, that you've met with your partner and whatever.
True.
And that takes over a little bit. So it's quite difficult to hang on to every friend you've ever had, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, would you want to?
No, you
cases?
wouldn't.
No.
I mean,
No, because a lot of friendship is just based on proximity, isn't it?
Yeah.
You see somebody frequently,
Yeah.
and you get to know them and you become friendly.
Yeah.
But that's not.
But I think
not
that's
really the same,
that's
is
an
it? It's not
interesting
really the
thing,
same.
because I think how often do you have to see a person to still count them as a friend? I mean, could you still count somebody as a friend who you haven't seen for 5 years, but you send them a birthday card and a Christmas card?
Oh, I think you could.
I think you could. Yeah.
Do you think so?
I think you still call them a friend, although they wouldn't be in the same friend category as the people that you think of as your closest friends. I don't think. I always remember when it may have been you that said this to me, but when I split up from my first wife, someone, and it may well have been you, said the good thing about this is that one plus from it is that all those friends that you had as joint friends, you can choose the ones that you want to hang on to, and the ones you maybe can go by the wayside now because they were joint friends that you were never that friendly with, but had to be friendly with in a way.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a culling of that friend pool, really.
And that's also a thing. If you have friends who break up, you know you know, you sometimes have to kind of decide. I mean, not many people ask you to take sides, do they? And that's very unfortunate, I think, when they do. I have no.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I've had friends who I have lost because they've got in a relationship or married somebody who doesn't want them to remain friends, you know, and has cut them off from previous friendship. But
I can believe that. No, it hasn't happened to me.
Yeah.
So, I can believe it.
Yeah. We've got friends at the moment who are going through a splitting up.
Yeah.
And it's we want, obviously, because actually we like both of them. We're wanting to remain friends with both of them.
Yeah.
And happily, they're quite happy for us to do that. They're not asking us to take sides, as you say. And I think that would be really hard if they suddenly said, well, okay, you know, I'm now in another relationship. You've got to make a decision.
But it happens, doesn't it?
It must happen, absolutely. Yeah.
So somebody who I've just only recently realised is a great friend is my late sister's husband.
Okay.
And I've known him all my life, really, because she was that much older than me. And I really, really appreciate.
So you've only
I've only sort of realised he's a friend. I mean, I've always, you know, we've always had a relationship.
Yeah.
But I've only just realised that.
What made you realise?
I think when my sister died, and I.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was then.
Yeah. So you'd almost took him for granted,
yes,
rather than thinking about.
I just thought of him as my sister's husband.
Yeah.
But now I think of him as an individual. As a
Have
person.
you ever had a friend die? A good friend die?
No,
I have.
No.
I've learnt about people who have died later on, but not in particularly where someone has suddenly phoned up and said, "Oh my God, you won't believe this, so and so's died."
Well, I had a good friend who I saw regularly, and he died. He had a brain tumour, and he died fairly quickly. I mean, it's a strange experience, you know, because you always sort of think the friends are going to go on forever, and sometimes you fall out with friends. But I mean, to have somebody kind of terminated like that is you know, and I often, you know, I do miss that friendship, you know, because we had a lot of similarities. We liked a lot of things together. We'd go to gigs and we go to sporting events together, and so I do miss him in that sense. Who now is your youngest in age friend?
I think probably my youngest in age actual friend, and I only saw them on Saturday night, is my friend James, who I went on Pointless with, because we discovered. I mean, I met James probably when he can't be more than about 18. So, and I would have been into my 30s by then, and yet.
So how did you meet?
Through musical theatre, and we just started chatting and realised we had an exceptionally similar sense of humour straight away, unusually because of the age difference as well, and. That's another person who, as we were saying before, I can not see him for a long time, and we'll just meet up and start chatting and be giggling and laughing straight away, and you know, comment on things, and it's almost like you say, I knew exactly what you're going to say then, because we've got the same, you know, we would have spotted the same things, and that's probably my youngest actual friend. I mean, there's lots of people I know who are younger than that, but I wouldn't call them friends, you know, as a friend. But I would say that's the case. Yeah.
I think my, you know, person youngest to me, that I would have got a couple who are probably in their 50s, you know, so 15 to 20 years younger than me. And similarly, have you ever had a friend who's been much older than you? Who wasn't a scoutmaster or anything?
Not that sort of friend, John.
Forced friend. Yeah.
I don't. I think sometimes you think of older people as, it's almost like you think, well, that can't possibly be a friend because that's an older person. That's a grown up. You know.
Well, it depends what age you are.
Yeah, does it?
But I can remember,
know,
you know,
still
the
making it grow
father
up,
of one of my friends, who I would have counted a friend. Yeah. I mean, sort of intergenerational friends is not so common, is it really?
No. Did you find that you made friends from the workplace very often, or is that again a case of, well, this is people I work with, I get on well with them, but are they really?
Well, the only
a
workplace
friend?
where I was with a lot of people was at, you know, magazines, and yeah, I mean, I did make friends there, definitely. Not subsequently, because often I was in an office with just a few people, you know. Yeah, I suppose, and then we were all pretty much the same age, I suppose, which helps. Your 20s.
Yeah, see, I found with, like, you know, the work I did, that in the different educational establishments I worked in, that you'd get on really well with people and have a good laugh and be friendly, but once they moved away or you got another job, those friendships just disappeared, and that's probably a sign that they weren't that deep a friendship, because if they had been, you'd have made real efforts to.
I find the same thing, particularly actually when I worked with the army back in the 80s. You know, I mean, the army runs on humour basically, because otherwise people would just top themselves, I think, because it's such a weird place to be, you know, and we had some great times, you know, real good fun and real laughing all the time in that. But then, and people are moving all the time in the forces, you know, they get posted all the time, and they just disappear.
I suppose it almost discourages great friendship in that way, because you don't know it. The next day you might suddenly get a posting and gone.
Well, but I think also there's, but on the conversely, there is also that thing of going through hardship with somebody else.
With someone,
Actually brings you closer. Brings you closer.
Sure.
And I know that some of the people I knew who had sort of joined up together, been through training together, done postings together, were really, really strong friends. But of course, I hadn't gone through all that.
No.
I was there working with them, and I've worked with some of them since, you know, a lot since, and know them quite well. But no, I wouldn't make my own effort to get in touch with them.
To get in touch again. No, this is it, isn't it? Really. Yeah. Do you ever feel guilty about some of the people that you haven't got in touch with again, because who were friends? I do. I sometimes I sit and think. Sometimes I think, so I used to be, you know, quite close to that person, and yet I haven't made the effort to.
Well, I always think I'm a big effort maker. I'm always somebody who regularly tries to maintain contact.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, you know, you're the catalyst for a lot of these things often, aren't you? Yeah.
Because I don't like friendships to, you know, atrophy, and I do like to keep them alive if I can. Sometimes you want them to die, actually. Sometimes you try and shake, you know, it's like a dog hanging on your leg, you know, you're trying to keep them alive.
I won't keep on.
That's all right, Rob.
No, I don't. But I do sometimes think someone comes into my mind, and I feel a pang of guilt that I didn't make the effort to stay in touch with that person. Even just to say, how you doing? You know,
I know what you mean.
How's life treated you?
But isn't there, with that, isn't there this sort of element of, I don't want to keep in touch with them because they might not want to know me. You know?
Well,
there is. You know, for me, that's a big thing.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, so if you're thinking maybe, well, you could say I'm obviously not that important to that person because they may have made an effort to get back in touch with me.
Never think that.
How could I possibly suggest that, John?
And have either of you got what you would call an unusual friend? Because I have. I've got a couple of friends.
Well, two of them.
Do we want to go there, John?
No. I mean, a friend
Your unusual friend.
that you think to yourself, you know, I've got two friends who I think, you know, and I'm kind of surprised they're my friends in a way, but they are really good friends. But why they're good friends is because we do share a sense of humour, which is the really important thing. And the other important thing is that they are evidently interested in me still as a person because they ask questions. Because that's a big determining thing for me with friendship. You know, that somebody asks questions about what you are doing, what your life is like. Because
What are you doing, John?
I haven't got a clue, but it seems to me a big determining thing in friendship that the other person is obviously interested in your life. You know, as I'm interested in other people, I ask loads of questions. I've been accused of being an inquisitor, you know, because I ask so many questions. But it's because I'm genuinely interested in people's lives, and I'd expect other people to have the same interest in me, and that's what makes.
And I think women are better at that than men.
Women are better
Oh
at that,
yes,
definitely.
far
Definitely.
better. Yeah. Thinking of talking of women, I mean, it always amazes me that when you think about your sort of growing up in your teenage years and things, the thought that you could have a close friend who's a woman that you're not in a relationship with is like it seemed wrong at that time. Well, that could never possibly happen. And yet, I think now about the people I know and I count on as not deep friends, but certainly friends, and the things that you can say to these people. And I think, well, my teenage self would never have dreamt of being that open with someone about something that's gone on who's from the opposite sex.
So, do you have women friends?
I have women friends, yeah. I don't think as close as the male friends I've got, but certainly people who I count as friends, as people that, not just acquaintances, but people who know a little bit more about me and my background than just someone you get on well with, you know.
Do you have women friends?
It sounds a leading question. Do you have women friends, Rob?
Or is it just the way you walk?
Well, I mean, I suppose like you, there are women I get on well with, but I think since I've stopped working, so you know, because I worked in a large organisation,
Yes,
and I knew lots of people, and lots of them were women, and there were women I got on well with, and you know, enjoyed company and had a laugh with and everything, but I wouldn't make the effort to maintain contact with them.
I've always had female friends, even when I was a child. I used to have female friends, and I suppose it's partly because when I was married, Jackie had male friends, so I thought it was normal to have female friends, and I would see them independently of Jackie and lunch and go out with them really. And you know, as a single person, I've had female friends. You do tend to lose them actually because they get partnered up, and then the partner is uneasy about you know, so I've lost a couple of good friends that way actually, because their partners haven't been happy with them being friends with me.
You're a single man.
Do you think as well that because when you get older, when you finish your education or whatever, you go out into the world of work in whatever way it might be, and you're in situations and socially where it's mixed far more than when you're maybe, you know, at school and whatever, whereas you tend to group with the male section. So you're suddenly in a situation where all the people you are dealing with on a day-to-day basis are male or female, and so therefore you don't just talk to the males in the organisation like you would have done at school. You're talking to everybody then, and so therefore these sort of friendships will develop more, won't they?
Yes, you're right. Yeah, I mean, when we've been talking a lot about our school days, and all the friendships we've talked about have been with the boys, haven't they? You know, there were lots of girls that we talk about, we got on well with, but probably wouldn't say that they were friends.
No.
The nearest I got to having a girl who was a friend in school was Liz Pauling.
Okay.
Because we used to go home on the same bus together, and we often used to sit together because we were both in the sixth form, and you know, you didn't mix them a little, friends, you know. and I got on really well with her, but that was only for a few months. you know.
Yeah.
But I think if I'd known her for longer, I would have, you know, been really, you know, we'd have been good friends, you know.
And then the last question I'd thought of, which won't apply to you because you are so long married, will apply to you to some extent and mainly to me. Can you be friends with an ex?
Well, I mean, when you say an ex, has that got to be an ex who you actually were married to, or just someone that you used to be in a relationship or friendly with? Because I mean, some people like yourself are quite capable of continuing a friendship with someone that they were in,
In a
relationship with.
Yes, that's what I meant, really. Yeah.
I'm not that type of person, and
Okay.
I couldn't do it. Whether it's a fear of doing it or not wanting to upset someone else, or or make them wonder if you really have finished that relationship. I don't know, but I would, for me, finishing it had to be a clean break.
Yeah,
And
I understand that.
I couldn't have envisaged
No.
continuing it. But I do know people, not just yourself, but I know other people who are still perfectly friendly with their ex-partner and now have other relationships.
Yeah.
But I look at them and I just think to myself, I couldn't do that.
Well, conversely, and I've had the experience where a couple of times I have ended up sleeping with a female friend, and it hasn't spoiled the friendship, which is good. Nor has it developed into a relationship. So that's kind of unusual, maybe.
So you obviously weren't up to much then, John.
No. I was absolutely rubbish.
Probably didn't even notice.
No, terrible in bed. No, they didn't even feel a thing. They just woke up the next morning, I had a bad dream.
Oh, that friend is still there.
Yeah. So it's a complicated subject, isn't it? But
it is, yeah.
I think what we can all agree on is that sense of humour is vital.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think that's one of those things. I mean, you read that, people say it often, but it's only when you experience it and realise that yes, it is very important.
I've had friends of different political persuasions and friends who
Yes,
haven't liked the music that I like, or anything like that, and I haven't liked the music they like. You can still count them as a friend.
Yeah. Luckily,
Yeah.
I mean, however musically snobbish we might be sometimes, we don't allow it to completely dictate who we are friends with, do we?
No.
Not completely.
Not completely.
There are limits.
You have to grit your teeth sometimes.
You look askance at a few people. Yeah.
Brilliant, yeah.
Well, I think we've given that a good working over. There's probably a lot more to say on it, but that'll do.
That's fine.